What if I told you that most of the time that you say you're confused, you're not actually confused? What if I don't know is just a polite version of I don't I don't want to deal with the next scary part? Because confusion can feel responsible. It sounds mature. It sounds like you're being thoughtful. Just gotta chill. But sometimes confused is just camouflage. And today we're talking about the uncomfortable truth. You're not confused. You're just stalling. So let's not stall and get started. Welcome to the Catalyst Podcast. I'm your host, Jason. Of course, you can catch us on all your favorite platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. You can also listen to our episodes on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and our home at Podbean. Folks, we love to hear from you. We see you from all over the world. And when I say all over the world, I mean all over the world. And we love to hear from you. You can reach out to us at catalystmotivationpodcast@gmail.com, catalystmotivationpodcast@gmail.com. Join the community and be part of something transformative. That's what we're trying to do here, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome to episode 149. You're not confused. You're just stalling. So let's not stall. Let's move forward. Okay, here we go. I'm not stalling. Here we go. Okay, seriously. All right. So let's gently tell the truth here, okay? Without shaming ourselves. Let's define it in simple language, okay? Confusion is when you don't have enough information. Stalling is when you have enough information, but you don't want to risk the outcome. Confusion says, I need clarity. Stalling says, I need safety. And if you're thinking, okay, but I'm confused, you might be, but here's a clue. If you've been confused about the same thing for weeks, months, or years, that's not confusion, folks. That's a pattern. And patterns usually protect something. A reputation, an identity, a fear. So, how can we find out if we're in one of these patterns or not? Why don't we do a quick reality check? Yes, a quick reality check. We'll call it the 3-question test. I like that. That sounds like a great name. The 3-question test. Okay, so let's start off by asking yourself this. Question 1 of the 3-question test, all right? Number 1, if someone paid me $10,000 to choose by Friday, would I suddenly get clarity? If someone paid me $10,000 to choose by Friday, would I suddenly get clarity? All right. Number 2, if I had to choose someone I love, would I know what to tell them? All right. If I had to choose for someone I love, how would I know what to tell them? All right. Number 3, if I was 10% braver, would I already be moving? If I was 10% braver, would I already be moving? So, if someone paid me $10,000 to choose by Friday, would I suddenly get clarity? Number 2, if I had to choose someone I love, would I know what to tell them? And number 3, if I was 10% braver, would I already be moving? If the answer is yes, you're not confused. You, my friend, are just stalling. I know, it's okay. But guess what? We're grown-ups. We're going to be accountable. We're going to own it. We're stalling. Let's just be honest and truthful. We're stalling. So let's talk about why we stall. Because it's not laziness. It's not laziness at all. So let me tell a story. All right. I had a time in my life where I told myself I was preparing. All right. I wasn't binge watching shows. I was binge watching productivity videos. I wasn't procrastinating. I was getting ready. I had 14 tabs open, 3 notebooks, 2 color-coded plans, and 0 action. And the truth, I wasn't confused. I was terrified of starting because by starting, that meant that my work could be judged and research, endless research. It's the pettiest or prettiest form of hiding, I guess. But it's just you, and you're hiding because you're afraid. Stalling usually wears a mask. So let's talk about the 3 different masks of stalling. All right? Mask number 1. So number 1 mask is perfectionism. Perfectionism says, I'm not ready. But what it really means is, I don't want to be seen trying. Brene Brown puts it like this: courage starts showing up with letting ourselves be seen. Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. This quote isn't motivational wallpaper, it's a diagnosis. Because stalling is what happens when your brain says, don't show up until you can guarantee you'll look good. And that's impossible. It's impossible. So what do? We wait. And we wait. And we wait. And it never comes. So mask number 1 is perfection. Mask number 2 is overthinking, aka analysis paralysis. This looks like spreadsheets, pro-con list, asking 11 people, reading 43 reviews, and still saying, I'm not sure. Workplace research describes analyst paralysis as overthinking that prevents decisions, often fueled by anxiety and perfectionism. Overthinking feels like responsibility, but really what it is fear wearing glasses. We can put up calendars and create ways and systems and all this kind of stuff. We can do all this stuff. And I remember I would do it. I'd be obsessed with it. I'd have these books and binders of all this stuff. And yet my life wasn't really going anywhere. But you feel like you're doing something. So mask 2 is overthinking. All right. Mask number 1, perfectionism. Mask number 2, overthinking. The 3rd mask, identity protection. Now, this is the sneakiest one. It sounds like I just want to make the right choice, but underneath, if I choose, I might fail. If I fail, what does that say about me? Stalling isn't always fear of failure. Sometimes it's fear of being ordinary. So you keep your potential safe by never fully testing it. That's not confusion. It's not confusion. It's self-protection. So, the 3 masks. Again, we have perfectionism, overthinking, and identity protection. Okay, so let's talk about decision load. A new systematic review from Frontiers in Cognition notes that an average American adult makes approximately 35,000 decisions a day. I've mentioned this in some of the other podcasts. 35,000 decisions a day, right? So if you feel mentally tired, it's not because you're weak. It's because your brain's been in meetings all day with everyone, right? Your brain's like, another decision in this economy? And when you're overloaded, right, we default to our easiest options: delay, avoidance, comfort, familiarity, right? That's why stalling spikes at night, because at 8:30 p.m., your brain is basically holding a closed for maintenance sign. Right? Habit research reports that by the American Psychological Association highlights about 43% of everyday actions are enacted habitually, often without thinking about you're thinking about something else at the same time. So you're kind of like on autopilot, right? So when you stall, it's not always a conscious decision. Sometimes it's your autopilot choosing later because later feels safer. So with that being said, so what do we do with this without beating ourselves up? Okay. Well, let me tell you the story. There was one day I was sitting and I was typing out this message, and it was long. It took like 40 minutes, right? A simple text, nothing dramatic, but it was long. But I kept rereading it like it was going to be like graded by a panel of judges. Like I told myself, I just want to make sure I'm absolutely clear. But what I really meant was, I really don't want to feel rejected. So I stalled and I called it confusion. And then I finally sent it, the messy, imperfect message. And guess what happened? Nothing exploded. No one died. The world kept spinning. And I realized something. The fear was heavier than the action. And here's the hard truth. Clarity is often rewarded for the moment, not a prerequisite, right? You don't think your way into confidence. You behave your way into it. James Clear writes about getting bogged down for searching for the perfect approach and how that keeps people from actually taking action. In other words, perfectionism doesn't protect your future. It delays it. It postpones it. So it looks like when I look at the clock on the wall, it's about that time to make this all practical. So let's give you that actionable exercise to do. All right. Grab your stuff, however you're doing this right now. I want to give you a simple tool that you can use right now. So again, grab your notes app or just do it in your head, right? So it's called the stall audit. Right? First thing you're going to do is this. Name the thing you're confused about. Be specific. Not my life. Say that application, that conversation, that workout plan, that business idea, right? Name the thing you're confused about. Number 2, identify the fear under the confusion, right? Finish this sentence. I'm calling it confusion, but I'm actually afraid of being judged, failing, being rejected, disappointing someone, losing control, being seen trying. Finish the sentence. Which one is it? That's number 2. Number 3, choose a 10-minute proof step. All right? Not the full solution, just proof of movement. For example, send the email draft, even if imperfect, right? Book the appointment. Write the first paragraph. Do 10 minutes of a workout. Make the call. Then, after step 3, say out loud, I don't need clarity. I need a next step. Because the goal isn't to stop feeling fear. The goal is to stop letting fear drive the calendar. So folks, you're not confused. You're not alone, and you're not confused. You're human. And you're protecting something. But your future doesn't get built in protection. It gets built in motion, one brave step at a time. So go be brave. And thank you so much for listening to the Catalyst Motivation Podcast. If this episode, if you felt something from this episode, share it with someone who you feel might need to feel and know that they're not alone. As always, keep showing up because the world needs you. We do. We all need you. Like, and subscribe to our podcast for more motivational content. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok for even more inspiration. And don't forget, there's a book I wrote called The Ways to Compromise. It's out now, and we'd appreciate it if you gave it a read. So thank you so much for joining us for episode 149. We look forward to seeing you next time for episode 150. Go be great.